Good morning or good afternoon, or how when you see the video, it'll probably be late evening anyway. But anyway, quick video update. I get this common asked question actually in 2019, and still a very common question today. And a lot of people still find the old Phantom 3s, which are no longer supported by DJI and no longer made by DJI. We're now on the Phantom 4 going forward, and all the other various models they now do. Now we've got to remember now the laws now changed in the UK. So if you've got own a drone, you need to register it and get it registered. Otherwise, you can get up to £1,000 fine of flying it without the getting it registered and doing the competency test too. And if you're a dad out there, you just bought a drone for your kids. Make sure you register it yourself and make sure he does a competency test, comfort whatever they call it anyway, a test to show that he's able to fly the drone itself. I was could be caught out with a fine of £1,000 because you need to register it now, especially in the UK. I'm not sure about other countries, but they seem to be sort of slowly changing around the same sort of way, and it won't be long before all the other countries have the same sort of thing. But anyway, we're not talking about drones. Just a quick reminder: the common question on the Phantom 3 is the camera issues. Now, the Phantom 3 was very famous for the Wi-Fi module that actually transmitted the video that used to burn out quite quickly on the Phantom 3 itself. But the camera's just played up now, it's got a bit more brighter. Sorry about that. I am actually doing this live off my camera this morning rather than making a proper video on it. So yeah, the most common issue was the Wi-Fi module burning out. That was quite common. But one recently, guys, emailed me in and said that he hasn't flown it, it's brand new, and he's done a firmware upgrade, and now the camera don't work. So before the firmware upgrade, the camera was working and transmitting perfectly. Now, after the upgrades on the firmware, which is drone said upgrade 2, he now has no video signal, and he's been told that he sends it back to DJI. It could be £500 bill to get it resolved. But unfortunately, I don't think there's any workaround apart from sending it off to DJI and getting it repaired, unfortunately. But if you can roll the firmware back, that's what I would first thing to do, is roll the firmware back to the old version that it was currently on, see if that will correct your issues. Now, I've got a feeling the firmware upgrade you go to, I don't think you'll be able to downgrade unless you can manually downgrade it by trying to find out if anybody's got the lower version firmware that's downloadable. I used to download all my firmwares and I used to put it on my site. I don't think I have them anymore. I deleted them off because obviously firmware changes quite rapidly going forward. I wish I now kept them all, because then I could then provide you a link with the firmware to manually downgrade it to. But hopefully try the software and check to see if there's a way of downgrading to the old firmware. If not, you might have to do a bit of Googling around to see if anybody's got the old version of the firmware that you can download and reapply that. So that's the first thing I would try, is downgrade it back to the original firmware. And if it works, happy days, keep it like that, because obviously the new firmware seems to be a little bit more buggy on it. Then the other thing I'm a bit worried about is if you do downgrade it and it still doesn't work, it sounds like your firmware has bricked your camera, which unfortunately is not much you can do apart from replacing the camera. Hopefully the camera has the old firmware on it. So that's what I would look at doing first anyway, and giving that a go. Other than that, I wouldn't spend too much money on the Phantom 3 because it's an old drone. It's not in support anymore, and it's super exceeded. So I would, if you're interested in flying and keeping your photography going, I would definitely upgrade, sell that off for spares or repairs, because there's no point spending time on it much. I mean, if you can downgrade the firmware, then fine, do it that way, because there's not much time to deal with. But other than that, I would definitely look at upgrading to a more up-to-date drone that DJI does support, so you can get help with that. But unfortunately, these drones are unsupported. There's no more updates on firmwares. They're not developing firmware for it going forward. So it's definitely worth ditching, getting rid of. You get something that is supported, much more easier. Then that way, at least you know DJI will be there for you with any issues, and current firmwares will be always in development, so bugs will get fixed. So it's a common pet I get at the moment from people saying, I have issues on the Phantom 3s. Phantom 3s has done its era, it's done its job. DJI does not support the drone anymore. They do not create any more updated firmware for it. So the firmware updated to was the last one they created was probably about years ago. But if you go up on DJI's website, sometimes they still have the support pages up. You can check the date and the release of the firmware when it was last updated. And you'll probably find it's like back in 2008, 18, or 2019. No, yeah, it will be 2018, the last update it will be. So if that's the case on that firmware you're on, that's dated 2018, nothing new since, then you'll know it's definitely not supported by DJI. But I know it's definitely not supported by DJI because it's not there anymore. They don't do any more development for it. So, and the trouble is with technology, it's the same with like drones or PCs. If the manufacturer stops making it and supporting it, it's definitely worth getting rid of. Keep it while it's working. As soon as it fails, get rid of it, or get rid of it before it fails. That's my opinion to do going forward now. Otherwise, you can spend like hours and days. You could be buying second-hand parts that's very risque to purchase. Don't know if it's going to work. I've had a lot of people over the last year buying new cameras, fitting it, same issues, same thing, hasn't resolved it. So I would try and downgrade the firmware. If it fixes it, fantastic. If it doesn't, sell it off for spares or repairs and get yourself an updated drone that is got support that you can rely on with DJI, and it has current firmware being developed for it going forward. So that's what I would do going forward on that side anyway. But it's a common question that's always popping up last year, and it's not still popping up again this year so far. And it's quite weird that people still flying or still have Phantom 3s out there. I moved on to Phantom 4s. I sold my Phantom 4 last year because it's now out of support apart from the Pro version. So I got rid of, mine was the original Phantom 4. And now I'm waiting to buy a new drone because some of the laws are changing in the UK, which I think especially the new DJI Mavic Pro Mini, which now is under 250 grams. All I've got to do is register it in the UK, do that confidency test, and I can fly in the UK safely. And they've got another one coming out very soon before the DJI Mavic Pros, I think it is, where you can do a test. It's not a full pilot course thing, and you're able to fly it in congested areas and able to sell the footage for money. And you do a simple test, which is not a full drone pilot thing. So that'd be interesting. That's not due out sometime this year, so it'd be interesting to see what comes out of that anyway. But yeah, so we've still got an old Phantom 3. Get rid of. Get yourself a new drone that's in. I think it was to do the camera. He upgraded it. Downgrade it. See if you can downgrade it. I will try and have a look to see if there's any links or whether I still got the old firmwares that I've kept, or whether I've probably deleted it. But I'll check anyway, and if I have, I'll email you. You know who I'm talking about. So if you don't get an email from me, that's because I don't have the firmware, the old firmwares anymore. But give it a Google around, because somebody out there, somebody's got a copy of the firmware, which, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you can downgrade and your camera working. But for my advice, people out there that got Phantom 3s that hasn't flown it yet, or still working, don't upgrade to the next firmware. Leave it as is, because it'll probably brick your or cause your camera issues. If it's working, don't touch it. Simple as anyway. Anyway, I've gone waffled on long enough. I've got some more stuff coming up very soon. Changes in laws in the UK, and new reviews coming very soon as well. So stay tuned for that. So see you soon. Don't forget, any questions you've got on any of your drones, comments, questions, please comment below, or send me an email, and I will try and resolve them for you, or do a video update and give you the questions and answers on camera. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for all the support, and thanks for all the new subscribers, which is fantastic. So let's see if I can keep the Jack's Drone channel going more with more updates, more news, and hopefully more reviews soon. Cheers.